So there's a big time problem and a big time warning from Microsoft themselves to Xbox owners, and you guys are going to want to pay attention to this video because this is something that could affect you and your console if you happen to be one of these unlucky people. So, we'll see what happens. At the same time, this is stuff that you could probably avoid just by avoiding this game. You know what I mean? Like, this happens a lot, and especially when you have games that are in like a preview program or whatever, you never know. You have to expect the unexpected. That's the thing that I would take away from this, as a new bug is destroying players' save data on Pocket Pair's Palworld. So Pocket Pair's Palworld, Pocket Pair's Palworld. Yeah, get it? Say that 3 times fast. While the release of Palworld patch that came to Xbox should be enough to have console players overjoyed, the launch has been a little bit marred by an unfortunate bug that could have disastrous effects on your game. Following its incredibly successful launch into early access in early 2024, Palworld lagged behind on Xbox as the PC version is generally a few updates ahead of what's on the Xbox consoles, leading to some frustration amongst the community. Now, while console players can now enjoy the benefits of a recent version 2.0.6 update, they can only do so at the risk of losing their save data altogether. That's not good, folks. Per a post on the official Discord server, the Xbox version of the updates includes an issue where multiplayer players' save data is not being loaded correctly when multiplayer save data from an older version is loaded. Uh-oh. Sounds like it's a bit of a problem. They have identified the cause and are currently developing a patch to fix the issue. Please do not load the affected save data until the patch is released. Multiplayer save data created in the multiplayer game after the new update will no longer be available to be loaded after the above patch is released. They're really sorry for the inconvenience and ask that you try not to load any multiplayer data until it's actually fixed. So, Pocket Pair has confirmed that it's been able to identify the root of the problem and is currently working on a hotfix that'll squash the bug and render previous multiplayer saves viable. In the meantime, the studio has requested that Xbox players please refrain from loading your affected data until the next patch is destroyed. Now, to make matters even worse for the Xbox community, Pocket Pair warns that any multiplayer save data created after the release of this new update will no longer be accessible once the studio releases the hotfix to the aforementioned bug. This means those hoping to start a new game with some friends and take on a new raid boss may want to wait a while to ensure they don't lose any progress along the way. While this is no doubt frustrating, it's worth noting that the Xbox version of Palworld has often experienced teething problems along the way, and it is a game that is, after all, still in preview program. Now, this is probably one of the reasons why a company like Sony doesn't exactly do, the preview program stuff. Like, I think at the end of the day, it really kind of comes down to what is kind of happening and what's going on with the games themselves. But you have to remember that Pocket Pair is a small developer, and so they are having, they'll probably take a little bit longer than average developer to fix some of these things, and that's unfortunate, but shouldn't be all that unexpected. At the end of the day, Microsoft is working with them to try to facilitate things, and like, this was a huge game, right? Like, I realize that right now it's probably a little bit on the deader side, but it is a huge game and has a lot of potential. I think once they start adding more stuff to it, it'll probably bring a lot of people back into the fray, and we'll see what happens. Like I said, I think that it's a very interesting thing that's going on, and people should be a little bit more wary of this stuff. It's why, like, personally, I don't do a whole lot of game preview program games, because obviously it's just one of those things where anything can happen, and it usually does. You know what I mean? Like, I used to be real heavy into the preview program on Xbox, but after having to reset my Xbox like 8 or 9 times or whatever it was, at some point you just start to kind of get over it. So back when Palworld first launched, players quickly discovered that the Xbox and PC versions were significantly different. While both featured the same content and were playable in their own right, The game performs slightly worse on Xbox Series X and S and lacks some necessary UI options such as a button to quit the game. Over time, the issues were ironed out, and while Xbox players generally receive patches after PC users, the versions are nearly identical aside from this latest bug, which is, unfortunate to say the least. Whether or not this new version update is enough to bring players back remains unknown. Given that the game's community has dramatically shrunk over the last few months, the player base has dropped by a crazy 97%. And while the addition of Raid Boss, several new structures, and more craftable items will likely satisfy devout fans, it remains to be seen whether it'll draw in lapsed users. Given the title is in early access, it's likely more will eventually return to the game once it launches into version 1.0, which is exactly probably what they're hoping for. So, again, I think it's a decent little game. I can understand the reason why people enjoy the game, but just be wary because there is a huge warning out for it. And I think that, people should take that seriously. You put a ton of time into these games, right? And I'll be honest, at one particular point, I think back in 2019, something like that, I was indeed playing more PlayStation than Xbox at that time, which is rare for me because I'm always an Xbox guy. But PlayStation had a string of hit games, first party, and I was really enjoying playing PlayStation. Now, what happened with that, and people always will consider that flip-flopping or whatever, when I've always had both, right? PlayStation and Xbox, like, since the beginning. And even Nintendo. But one of the things that kind of annoyed me about PlayStation was the games that I was playing on PlayStation, the save files were nowhere to be found. Like, there was all kinds of issues with the save files, and so a lot of the games that I was playing ended up not really working out that well because I couldn't go back to them, so I just abandoned them. It was like a lot of games that I bought. Even my Ghost of Tsushima save file completely disappeared, and that was super unfortunate. Again, it's stuff like that. I can definitely sympathize with people. My Uncharted save file, my Death Stranding save file, all the stuff that I was enjoying as a fan of these games, and then you lose hours and hours and hours, and sometimes maybe even 100 hours of progress. That's unfortunate to say the least, and so that's basically what had happened. So I'm trying to send this video out so it's a bit of a warning for you guys. Again, just take it for what it is. I'll link the article in the description as well so you guys can check it out. Let me know what you think. Have a great day. Rack them up. Fact them up. As always, crap gamer them up. And if you do enjoy my content, remember, please like the video. It helps it out. And perhaps even subscribe if you haven't already. Yeah, it'd be nice to get a few new subscribers. Have a great day.